Greetings, everyone. I think we are discussing one of the most consequential matters for humanity, and I can't emphasize that any more strongly. Um, Talking about partnerships, I don't think people really understand how connected we are through water, both on the surface and underwater, under the surface as well. On the surface, 154 countries share water bodies across the planet. Out of 193 member nations of the United Nations, 154 share water bodies. Below the surface, 64% of the countries actually share their aquifers with neighboring countries. So we are connected deeply, both above the surface and under, whether we accept and appreciate that partnership. Nature has built that partnership for us. But nature also has presented its challenges in a significant way. To give you an example, the country where I come from, although I have lived not much there in the recent decades, but I have always, you know, marveled at nature's injustice in a way that a country that has 18% of the world's population, India, has only 4% of the freshwater resources. And when you don't manage that effectively enough or well enough, it is a big challenge. Of course, there are countries, um, around the world that are water surplus because they have kept their forests or they were gifted with the forests, and like countries like Guyana, countries like Liberia on the west coast of Africa, countries like Indonesia, and there are countries that have really managed to keep their rainforest. Brazil as well, although it's not been able to manage its forest as well as either Guyana or Indonesia, but then they have also tried very hard during President Lula's earlier term, and now again they're trying to bring back the biodiversity and prevent the forest loss that was happening in the previous government. So we have a mixed bag of these challenges across the planet, and how do we build partnerships that can really help? And sometimes the fact of or the essence of the matter is missing in conversations. We very happily consume food understanding very little about their water footprint. If you take uh, rice, that is very commonly understood, and almost all of us have consumed rice either regularly or at some point of time in our lives. 1 acre of rice cultivation on an average globally is about 565,000 liters of water. That's how much water you need to grow rice in a season in one crop cycle. That's how much water is needed. Now, is it required to spend that much water? Absolutely not. There are all kinds of technologies now that can actually reduce that. If you are doing regenerative agriculture, water use intensity drops by about 50%. There's a program that we have been supporting for the last 7, 8 years, which is now the world's largest clean agriculture program. 1.2 million women farmers in that program have switched from synthetic chemical farming to zero chemical farming. And in doing so, the water use intensity has dropped by 50% in rice for sure. But then other crops, it varies anywhere between 30 to 70%. Now, if there was a way, and that market is just building up, but if there was a way, where you could monetize these conservation efforts, even at a very conservative level, even if you counted 100,000 liter of water savings per acre in a rice field, let alone 200,000 or 250,000, which is the case in this particular program as I'm talking about. And now water credits are selling at about $1, little more than that. And a water credit is actually 1 cubic meter of water, which is 1,000 liters of water. So if you could monetize and bring it to market, and then those that are drawing water from the very, very rare reserves that nature has provided humanity, and not just humanity, all other 8 million species to use. Um, so that would go a long way. Those that are drawing water, whether it's the Pepsis and the Coca-Colas, or the major food companies like Nestle and Danone and Cargill and what have you. So how do we build a buyers coalition? That's a partnership that could be really consequential, both through the work of Water Unite, because Water Unite has been at the forefront of a lot of innovative models in different continents, and it could very well be the benevolent intermediary to straddle that space and be the bridge between those that need to be recognized and acknowledged for the good work they are doing in conservation and storage of water. There's another program I would like to highlight that we have been a part of. They're a member of the Global Alliance. It's on the west coast of India. They have stored in the last 5 years 4 billion liters of water purely through private efforts, community efforts, doing the right thing, embankments, putting big shafts in riverbeds so that during the rainy season the water goes down, and they have brought up groundwater from 300 feet under to now 40 feet below the ground, just within 5 years. So people that are putting these kind of efforts, if they can be helped, and I think Water Unit does and can play an even more significant role in that. The other thing that can play a very significant role is blended finance, and Cyril is of course going to talk about it. But I just wanted to give a big shout out to the German Development Bank, KfW, who have put in 210 million euros into this particular natural farming program that I mentioned on the east coast of India at 0.45% coupon, which is extraordinary. It's 10-year money. And then, of course, initially they were not interested because they thought, okay, agriculture is risky and we don't. And the moment they saw the whole of system paradigm shift, instead of looking at it as just agriculture, that these are women farmers, that when they make more money, their families, their children get better nutrition, they go to school, they get better public health. It's a cascading effect of a lot of good. Then they came forward and say, you know what, we want to be a part of this. And not only that, they put forward money at 0.45% coupon, which is unthinkable right now. Nobody is, even sovereign wealth funds are not going to put up money like that. So, I think the three lessons I would close my statement with is that it is important to build these virtuous partnerships, bringing diverse group of stakeholders together so that whatever risk an investor might see or perceive melts away because you have everybody in the tent, from the government to the beneficiary at the bottom of the pyramid. That's the first part. The second is that as you do that, you need to keep working and producing the proof points and the evidence in partnership with research institutions, third-party audits, and impartial investigators, and investigators as in research scholars and others that you can bring in, and then they can all add to the gravitas of the value proposition that you're presenting. And the third is to create these coalitions at all levels, the farmers coalitions, the intermediaries, the aggregators, the investors, and the buyers coalition, so that you harness the power of every possibility there is to monetize, because there is no better way to acknowledge and appreciate the good work of a good and hard work of people at the bottom of the pyramid than to get them paid for their hard work in the right way, and in a meaningful way. Thank you.